Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Welcome, everybody, to the Two Geeks and a Microphone Anniversary Special Edition.
Yay!
That's right, everybody. Woohoo! I tell you what, I'm excited about today's show. I am your co-host, Mr. Steven Boster, along with my illustrious one and only, the stupendous, splendorific Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey, everybody, my friend.
Good afternoon to all you geeks out there, and happy anniversary, Steven.
Thank
1
you.
year.
Happy anniversary. One year.
We made
Janelle,
it.
Thank you. Janelle's already in there saying hello,
Nice.
happy anniversary.
Thank you, Janelle.
Thanks.
And
Thank
Brian
you.
said happy anniversary to us also.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Brian.
Right on. Love it. So, hey, woo, this is the extravaganza. I am very pumped about this show. We had a great last show we just did on the third episode of the Book of Boba Fett. If you didn't get a chance to listen to that yet, that's okay. You can catch it on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and we will have that posted on our podcast later on. I tell you what, though, very excited to be here. We got another special guest with us. The man himself,
the geek with the Bible. Aaron Mccoy, happy anniversary or not. I do not like telling people what to do.
I love it.
Thank you, Aaron.
Aaron's a regular on the show. We love him dearly. Aaron, so great to have you joining the fray today.
Awesome.
Oh my goodness. So I've got my two dogs are at my feet because in our last episode, we started talking about chicken nuggets. And so I ran out in between episodes and I went to McDonald's and got chicken nuggets, but I also got fries. And my dogs are like all at my feet going, I want some fries. Give me some fries. I need some fries. So that's what they're doing.
Is he going to drop them?
That's exactly it. That's it. Because they know I'm a klutz, especially when it comes to eating. I'm surprised this shirt is as clean as it is. My Two Geeks shirt.
Yeah, I have that problem too. And I'm wearing a white Two Geeks shirt. And anytime I eat with it, I'm like, oh, please don't get anything on it. Yeah, I'm I need to go ahead and put the bibs on, like the Three Stooges and stuff. When they eat, they put the big bibs on or whatever.
Right. I hear you.
Probably what I should do. I'm a slop. What can I say?
Yep. Well, hey, everybody. As you can tell, I sound really funny. I've been sick all week. Mike has been very gracious. He said, look, Steven, we really don't have to do this. I'm like, no. I got to do this because I'm telling you, Mike has done a lot of work behind the scenes to make this a great show. And Mike, I'm just giving you kudos right off the bat. Well done. And so we're going to take you along for the ride today. We are going to start off with kind of how this all began, what started, what we did, why we did what we did. But then also we are going to kind of have, some surprise shout outs and guest appearances. And then also, please comment any questions that you have for us along the way. We've had some people who have asked us, hey, how did you get started? What did you use? Or, those kinds of things. And we're not here to sell you anything. We're just saying this is what we did. Man, we probably should hook up with some affiliates. Kind of
nice.
Make some money for the podcast.
Of course, we got kind of a hodgepodge of equipment that we use. It's not like we're both using exactly the same stuff. I mean, some of the things we use the same. We do have the same.
Yeah,
mics.
some of the stuff you got, and then I went ahead and got what you had.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that.
So we really. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to give a shout out to Roger. Roger, real quick, says congrats in 1 year. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate that. Brian is back. Brian, great to have you here. Happy anniversary. I had a feeling.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, thank you for the last episode. You had a lot of good comments and insights and saved me on a couple things.
Yep.
Push some penguins back up on the iceberg for me. You helped me out a lot. I appreciate it, buddy.
Brian, are you on the three? Is it the Three Geeks?
I think it's Three Geeky Dads.
Three Geeky Dads. Let us know. He also says, as an IT guy, I love the techie stuff. Very cool. Love having you with us. All right. Oh, that was nice. Brian said, anytime, Mike. So, all right. So, Mr. Michael Shanks. Yeah, Brian is. It is him.
I thought so.
All right.
So we need to give him a shout out in his podcast. Shout out then. So
yes.
Brian's been commenting on some of our stuff. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. And he is a co-host of the Three Geeky Dads podcast. So check out their podcast.
Yes, they're
Definitely.
fun.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of that, we should probably give a shout out for the crossover podcast that we're going to be recording next week.
Yes. How much can we say? Because we're not going live with them though.
No, we're not going live. We are going to record it, release it as audio podcast. I'm hoping that we can release both of them as video podcasts somewhere. We'll give more details to that later, but we got to get permission from them because half of it is theirs, and they don't do the video side like we do. Yeah, so we are crossing over with another podcast called Nerdery and Murdery with Jeff and Zeke, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, make sure I get that right because I don't want to mess up on his name next week.
Right.
That would be bad. Yeah, we met with them about a month ago. Came up with the idea of doing a crossover podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a fun time. If you guys have not checked out Nerdery and Murdery, check them out. They're a blast. Good, fun guys.
They do a lot of homework for their shows, which we do not.
Hey now, I did a lot of homework for the last Boba Fett episode.
That's true. You did. Yes, you did. You had 3 pages of notes, and I am impressed. But I also thank you for covering for me a little bit from being sick this week.
No problem.
So thank you.
No problem. Well, so yeah, make sure and check us out on Nerdery and Murdery, and we'll have a 2-part podcast. The first one will be on theirs, and the second one will be on ours. So make sure you check that out.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So normally on Nerdery Murdery, the first half of the show is all about some kind of nerd geekdom kind of a thing, and it's really good. And then the second part is all about a murder mystery or real life murder story kind of a thing. They are both great storytellers, and they really are.
Man, they research like crazy too. Those guys they blow me away with their research.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're a lot of fun. So, but that is next week. We record with them, and we'll keep you guys updated and on how all that's going to work. So, like the release schedule for that. So, it will be within the next 30 days for sure. They have a certain schedule because we want to do part 1 for our folks to introduce them and say, hey, check out part 2 on theirs, or I think it's vice versa. I think
they're doing part 1. We're doing,
and we do part 2 on ours. So, it'll be a lot of fun.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, when we met with them, we had a hoot. So, but you're probably asking, Steven, how did you get there? Well, let me tell you, it was a year in the making. To get where we are today, it was a year in the making. And so, Mike, I'm going to let you start off, and because it really did start with you. And so why don't you begin the journey of where we started, and then how did we end up here, all the way to here?
Well, the funny thing is, I think this all really started with the pandemic. because you and I, okay, anyone who hasn't listened to us before, Steve and I have been best friends since high school.
High school.
You know, we met each other in high school when Steven moved to O'Fallon, Illinois. I
now, let me
still
tell
live.
this story. Let me
Oh
interrupt
boy!
you real quick.
Oh my
We
gosh!
met through church. Okay.
Yes, we did.
I'm brand new. My dad was a pastor. He did like the education administration stuff, kind of a thing. Not the guy
Steven's
who
dad was awesome, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Miss him.
Yeah, me too. So he, my dad had told me, he goes, look, he goes, you need to make new friends and stuff. And he knew I probably didn't take the move well because I moved at the beginning of my junior year in high school. So I was making all kinds of new friends, or I had to make all new friends. And we even came a few months into the school year. And so I'm at church, and here's this guy who comes up. He's got a mullet, long
Yes,
hair,
I did.
and he's got a striper shirt on, I'm pretty sure.
Probably. It's hard to say, but
It was
most
probably
likely.
a striper shirt. And
It
he
was
comes up and he
probably
says,
it was probably To Hell with the Devil too.
it probably was. And he comes up to me and he says, hey, you just want to go hang out or something, kind of a thing. And I'm like, so my dad's voice was in the back of my head, hey, you need to make friends and stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, this guy probably won't like me, but he's asking me, so let's go, kind of a thing. And we hung out. He could drive. It was great. He had a car, it's a big boat of a car, if I remember right.
That was probably the Camaro. I had a 76 Camaro. That was my first car. So it was probably the Camaro, most likely.
Okay.
It was either that or it was one of my parents' cars, one of the two. I don't know.
Right.
Sure.
So anyway, we hung out. We've been friends ever since. I mean, we did get lost. We kind of went a little bit too far into East St. Louis at night. That was not good.
I think I made a wrong turn off of 64 and we ended up in East St. Louis, and
which was
had
like
to turn around. Not today. I could get around really easily in East St. Louis, but back then, I didn't. I was a new driver and didn't know what I was doing. So
right, yeah. So that's how we met, and we've been friends ever since. Which that was 30.
Oh, Roger asked if it was the Nova or the Pinto, but Roger, I think it might have been the Camaro at that time. Yes, I did have a Nova. Yes, I did have a Pinto. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, through the years, we both have had good friends and stuff, but what's kept us connected through all the years, because I mean, he's in Illinois, Western Illinois. I'm up in central Montana, and I've moved around quite a bit. And now I'm up here and I'm not moving anywhere else. I'm done. I'm done moving. Of course, it's just absolutely gorgeous up here too.
Yes, it is.
It was great to have you guys up here.
We'll talk about that too. We'll get to it.
Yeah. And then we've having connections. We would call each other and say, hey, have you seen this? Or you've seen this? And we would just talk. We would just, that's how we kept up on stuff, was we talked all things geekdom and nerdery, kind of stuff. But and that's how we've remained friends through all these years.
Yep.
And so that I just want to interrupt with how we met, because you and that mullet, I'll never forget that. I remember where we were standing and everything inside the church when I first met you.
Wow, those details are fuzzy to me.
Well, I'm not saying there's not a lot of other fuzzy stuff, but I do remember that.
I remember that. I remember that happening. I just don't. Yeah, I don't remember the details like you do. I do remember having the mullet, and I do remember wearing the denim jacket. I wasn't sure if I was wearing a striper shirt. Who knows what shirt I was wearing at that point?
You had a lot of 80s rock band shirts.
I still do. I never grew up, dude. Yes, Roger, we know you have a picture of the mullet. Shut up. I don't need to hear it.
Right.
You don't need to see it. It's good. It's all good. No, but we've kept in contact all these years, and like you said, all movies come out, and one of us would call the other, "Hey, did you see this?" And then we'd be on
what'd
the
you
phone.
think?
Yeah. We'd be on the phone for like an hour talking about, the movie or whatever, or book that we've read, or, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So when the pandemic hit, I would say that I was pretty depressed during that time. We were going through a period of, we're still kind of going through some of this stuff, because not everything's done yet, and we're still going through minor lockdowns here and there, and
right.
Right. No one knew what to expect, and there was all kinds of silly fears going on. And you and I not only were talking movies, we started FaceTiming, and we started watching it was the Clone Wars final season. We watched that together.
We did.
Yeah, and then then after the Clone Wars final season came out, I don't know who the guy was, but he did the Revenge of the Sith supercut, where he intercut the episodes of the Clone Wars, because they happened simultaneously with Revenge of the Sith, and he interspersed those with the Revenge of the Sith, made it like a
4-hour long movie.
Right. And we watched that together
we did.
over the internet, and fantastic cut too. If you can find a copy of the Revenge of the Super,
it's down.
I'm just saying, if you can find it, watch it, because man, he did a great job in his editing. The scenes fit really well with the Revenge of the Sith. You would think that it being a cartoon, it wouldn't work, but it actually works really well. I really enjoyed it.
I actually shot him over some money just to say kudos, thanks for your work.
Yeah.
And I was able to download it. I've got it and all, but I don't I didn't pay him for a copy.
Right. No.
It was
we're not advocating pirating.
Right. But he and it was fabulous. We were able to watch it together, and we had started watching stuff together. I even remember that first time we were really trying to do that Disney Plus, that whole Disney Plus thing. Thanks, Kelly. That's my wife, everybody. She's on. She says, "Happy anniversary." If you look real close, I am in that Facebook picture right there.
So yeah, we started watching things together, and then we started watching Mando together, the Mandalorian season 1.
We did.
And I think that's when I threw out the idea, because I was like, okay, podcast is something I've wanted to do for a long time, probably 10 years. And in fact, me and my daughter Megan, who we've had Megan on the show, she'll be happy I mentioned. She asked me, "Dad, you going to mention me?" So,
absolutely.
Depends on where the conversation takes us to. So our show is all about conversation. So, when so Megan's 25 now. So she was like 14, 15 when we threw out an idea to do a podcast.
Oh, okay. And I don't think I realized that.
And no, I probably never told you. We recorded a couple things, but nothing. We really didn't get far into it. I really didn't. Nope. Okay. Okay. I'll get into that, Megan. I'll get into that.
Megan she's waving. She says, "Hey, I was talking more about the logo."
Okay.
We will discuss that. Yes.
Well, that's part of the story,
part of the journey.
We'll get there. Anyway, so she and I had thrown out this idea. We were going to do a podcast. We were going to do it on DC stuff. It just didn't pan out. I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to get connected. I didn't know how to start it. And honestly, she didn't really want to talk on the microphone.
In all fairness, 10 years ago, it's not the same. It's not as easy then. It's easier now than it was back then.
Sure.
To do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is a lot easier nowadays than it was then. So, so that just kind of fell apart, and it's just been something in the back of my mind for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then I threw it out to you because I was like, well, if anyone wanted to do a podcast with me, Steven would probably want to. And I think you and I have a good chemistry together.
Right.
I think it works. So
well,
I threw out the idea.
Here was Mike. Mike was like, we're already talking about it. Might as well put it on a podcast.
Well, when I brought the idea up to my wife, Brenda looks at me and says, so what you're telling me is I've been listening to your podcast for years. Now just everybody else is going to get to listen to it.
I love it.
Sure, pretty much.
Love it.
Except funny. Now we've added graphics and music and sound effects and,
Yeah, we've been having a good time. Real quick shout out, Josh Wilson. Josh is a
friend of mine from work.
Says thanks for all the podcasts. Great material for my commute. You're very welcome, Josh. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, actually. And thanks for chiming in. I don't know about you guys, but we just started doing this. Well, we'll get into the story when we started doing this stuff. But when we've been doing this live stream stuff, I have totally enjoyed doing the interactions with everybody. Here's Brenda.
Yep.
Mike's wife.
Thank you, Brenda. And I think if you look real closely at that picture, I'm in that one too. So
here, let me pop that right up again. Let me see.
I think that's when we went out to Montana too.
That may be one. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you guys came out here, but that's all part of the story. So I don't want to get ahead of everything. So
yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, she's been listening to it for years. So now everybody else gets to join in, which is funny. Man, where would we be without our wives? We would not be very far, let me tell you. So Kelly and Brenda have put up with us for a year.
Well, they've been putting up with us longer than a year. They've just been putting up with podcasting for a year.
Very much so.
And they've both been very generous and allowed us the time to do this because it does take time. And,
yes.
Actually, I put in a lot of time on this podcast.
You do put a lot of time. You put a lot more than I do, but
with editing and trying to schedule guests and
yes,
I'm constantly trying to come up with ideas and
you're doing great, by the way. Sorry for the thing, everybody. I got to tighten up my microphone. It's slipping. No, you've put it. It's obvious you put in a lot of work, and a lot of kudos go to you. And all.
That was a good comment.
Brian from Three Geeky Dads says, very true. We geek dads need to get all our geek wives together on a Geeky Wives podcast.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. Oh, that would be some podcast.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine the shenanigans?
Yeah, no kidding. I wonder if there'd be alcohol involved in that podcast too, because boy, that could get into some conversations. Right. Just maybe. Excuse me. Sorry for coughing, everybody. If you're just joining us, I've been sick all week, but I really wanted to do this, and this has been great. Mike's been so patient with me on this. So, Mike, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Oh yeah. So Brenda said margaritas. Yes. I have to do some margaritas. And Brian says so much editing. So true. Brian, I got my editing down pretty good. I mean, except if you listen to our last episode, I messed up on my editing and actually put our outro at the beginning.
Yeah, that's our most recent that's on Podbean right now.
Right. So yeah, if you listen to our recent episode on Podbean it's on Podbean and Stitcher and Amazon and all the major podcasts.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We need to get to that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. My bad, I jumped ahead.
If you listen to it and you hear me on the outro, just keep listening. It doesn't end there.
Right.
I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that, but it is what it is. So what? But yeah, so we I threw out the idea to you, and I half expected Steven to go, Mike, that's a dumb idea. That's not going to work.
Yeah, but what did I say?
You went, wow, okay, let's do this. And I was shocked. I was like, okay, all right, let's try it,
So in all fairness, I gotta be open about this and honest. Not that I'm lying, but I mean open. So I have a whole nother company. I do abstracting work. I do research work during the day. That's a long story in itself. But I also have another company called Servants by Design, and we do communication profiles and stuff like that. So I have this whole other job that I do.
Hey, now I have another job too.
Right.
I just don't own the company. That's all.
Right. And so, so I had already been thinking about doing a podcast, and I thought, as part of the content marketing strategies and stuff. And I'm like, gosh, I don't know a darn thing about it. And about that same time, Mike is like, hey, I think we'll do a podcast. I'm like, oh, test strategy, test market. We could do this. That's where my brain went. Using
they say God works in mysterious ways. Maybe this is his way of saying, okay, Steven, you need to learn how to do a podcast. So
no, I think it's more like, hey, you need to hang out with Mike and have a good time and take a break
from
all
like
this
that
work
too.
that you're doing. That's really what it was.
I like that too.
That's for me when you said doing a podcast. I'm like, okay, all right, hey, let's do this. Because I mean, we're already spending time talking together, hanging out. Now we're doing a lot more, kind of a thing, which is good. And also, that's kind of where that's where my thoughts were. Is when you had mentioned it about the whole thing about doing a podcast, I was like, oh, kind of a thing. So I said yes, and we lived happily ever after. I'm just kidding.
Oh, well, there was some back and forth in the beginning on how we were going to do things, what platforms we were going to use, and
yeah, there was. I'm part of in my communication field of what we do, I'm part of a network, and the master trainer who trained me in the style has a podcast, and he used Podbean in the beginning.
And I had never heard of Podbean at the time.
Yeah, and so I had already done a podcast, well, just one episode of a podcast, and I just that one, and is my green bean story. It's about change. It's a whole nother subject, and so it was a lot of. I was like, well, I'm already a little bit familiar with it. I already have a thing where we could try it. Suppose it, it's free. It's free to start. Kind of a thing. Now I'm telling you guys this part of the story because it is important.
Drug dealers always give you the first one for free. Then after that, it cost you.
Right.
I kind of think that's what happened to us.
Right. So let me tell you this. So we did talk about platform. Which platform should we use?
Yeah.
Now, I had already purchased a course. I dropped a chunk of change on a course for Pat Flynn's podcasting course.
Now, we did learn a lot from him, though.
We did learn a lot.
I watched several of those episodes, and we got a lot of good information. Excuse me.
It was so expensive, but I thought I'm investing in this, and plus I wrote it off as a business expense.
Well, I mean, we're using it for our business.
But if you are on a budget, do not start with Pat Flynn's course because it is expensive. But you do get good.
But there is good information in it.
There really is. But we'll share with you guys what we have learned. Yeah, I love, in all openness, you guys, I really do like Pat Flynn. Oh, I'm sorry. Brian said we watched a ton of Pat's videos on YouTube when we started. And
yes.
I do like him. He does come across real genuine. His whole SPI media group and the things that they do is really good. And it is a good course. It's just really expensive. I would suggest if you're on a limited funds to start off with, if you really want to find out about podcasting, get on Udemy. Phil Ebner, I think I want to say, you can get those courses for like $10, $12. as well. Yes, Pat is very personable and he is very knowledgeable. Yes, he does share. He is open about his stories and where they succeeded and failed. And plus, during the pandemic, he went live every day for over a year during the pandemic because it was a whole thing on pandemic and stuff like that. So,
oh my gosh,
with the Bible,
yeah, put up, yeah. Go ahead.
I started out with one episode podcast as well. It was a satirical review show called I Love Movies.
And you're a bigot.
You're a bigot. Okay.
That is so Aaron. I love it. Anyone that's Aaron Mccoy. He's a geek with the Bible. Aaron's got his own podcast and YouTube channel. Aaron's been on the episode several times. Aaron is a honorary third geek with a microphone.
Right.
I've known Aaron for many years. Aaron and I've went to church together for a long time. He's a great guy. So make sure you check out his podcast too.
Yep. And actually, Aaron, I was listening to your podcast earlier.
I've been trying to catch up on all his.
Yeah, I like it because it's just a natural conversation style of Bible study. Love it.
Very good. And he gets a lot of geek references in from time to time too. Oh yeah.
Yep. Josh said he loved your views on the Matrix.
Yep.
And so yeah, they were good. God, it made me think so hard.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. Aaron's kind of like our philosopher. He's officially Two Geeks and a Microphone's philosopher. So
yes, and we love it. I love it. I may give you a hard time about making me think hard, but I really enjoy having you on the show.
Yes,
I really do.
Very much.
All right. So back to format. So we talked about Podbean. Then I think Pat Flynn recommends Buzzsprout.
Yes, he did.
He recommended Buzzsprout, and then we what else? I
think we looked at Lisbon also.
We did look at Lisbon. We did look at that too. We decided just to take a jump. And Mike, I think you had said, well, if you're familiar with Podbean, let's just go for it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And Lisbon. Oh, okay. So excuse me. Oh man, Mike, you may have to talk for a few moments while I recoup. So Brian says he recommended Lisbon. Okay. So that's the one that Pat Flynn recommended, and that's what you guys use. Oh, okay. Real quick, just for the show, because people will come back and listen to this because we're talking about making a podcast. Well, how do you like it? How do you like Lisbon and stuff? Gosh, that's probably another. Hopefully, we'll get that's an easy comment to put in. Sorry.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I got to say, when we threw out Podbean, when you threw that out and we started looking at it, Brian said that they like it a lot. They like Lisbon.
Oh, good.
So I mean, if you're looking to start a podcast, Lisbon might be something for you to look at. But I would also recommend.
He says 3 years with no hiccups.
Oh, nice. I would recommend Podbean because Podbean's been good to us. We've liked their service, and they've gotten us on all the major platforms. I was pretty shocked at how many different platforms we actually were on. So, I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about Lisbon or
no. And actually, I think that what's nice about the different platforms is they speak to different people with different needs or what you think you want, what you don't think you want.
Because not everybody listens to Apple Music. Not everybody listens to Amazon. Not everybody listens to, whatever.
Yeah. Brian says planes start at $5
for Lisbon.
For Lisbon. Yeah. Now Podbean, we pay $9 a month. Well, technically I pay a year at a time. So it's $9 a month.
And I'll bet Lisbon has the same thing. They probably have a yearly.
And we did it. I think we did it because when we looked at the other ones, we knew that we were going to do one a week. We had committed to saying one of the things that Pat Flynn had said, and we saw in other articles, is consistency.
Yep.
And that was the big deal. So if you do a podcast, you have to be consistent. And I was just reading an SPI media article, a Pat Flynn article that came out this week, and they did their podcast tips for 2022. And in there, they said that there's like 8 million podcasts or something crazy, just huge number of podcasts. And they said if you make it past the 10 episode mark, you are in the top 600,000 of podcasts.
We're at 79. This is our 79. We are recording 79 right now.
Yeah. Oh, there's Brian. Brian's saying yes, is consistency is key.
Yep.
And agrees. Probably picked that up from Pat Flynn. Yeah. Excuse me. Pat Flynn has so much that's free that you just don't worry about paying for his course yet or whatever.
Just go search him on YouTube. You can
just search him on YouTube and just pour through the material and stuff. Realistically, everything that's stated in there is probably in the course somehow, some way. It's just the course is nice because it's all organized and a launch plan and the whole bit.
Right.
And which we sort of did the launch plan and it did work for us, but we'll get into that. So we did Podbean for this reason. Unlimited.
Yeah.
That's why we chose it, because it gave us unlimited podcasts, unlimited hours. You could do as much as you want. And so we went ahead and did that.
We knew we were going to do one a week, like you said.
Yeah.
But we also knew that we had, like, The Mandalorian season 2 was coming out, and we knew that we wanted to cover it, but we didn't want that to be our main episode. So that's something we've stayed with. So like Mandalorian, we do our bonus episodes, which is Mandalorian, and then we do our main episodes, which, the bonus episodes gets released as soon as I finish editing them, and as soon as Steven can launch them, they're released. Like we'll do our Boba Fett episode 3, that'll get launched sometime tonight or tomorrow, probably.
We're probably so tired after this. We're like, it'll be tomorrow.
Once I get done with this and have to start editing it, because I haven't touched that yet.
Right.
So we did that with Mandalorian. We did that with Hawkeye season 1. What else did we cover? We covered a few other things, I think, like that. Bad Batch.
Back then it was Bad Batch too. Right. Well, here's the other thing is, when one of the things that in Pat Flynn's stuff that we learned was we had to brainstorm our topics. He said, come up, what was it, like 30? It was like 30.
No, I think it was 10. I think
was it 10?
I think it was 10 to start with. And then he wanted you to have 3 recordings done and launch 3 for your first
at the same time
for the on your launch date, which we did. We did 3. We had 10 or 20 topics, I think, starting out.
Yeah, we did. We came up with a huge list of stuff we wanted to talk
and
about.
Some of them we've done and some of them we threw out.
Yes.
There was some we went along and said, you know what, I don't want to do that now.
Right. Well, I think part of it is, I think he was just make your list. Don't try to edit it. Just make your list. Go through it, and then.
Well, and we still do that too.
We still do that.
We'll throw out ideas. Well, shoot, you hear us on the show all the time. Hey, that's a great idea, and you're writing it down.
I'm writing it down, and then I add it to our Miro board. Yep.
Right. So so we have this list of ideas, and so if we come up with an idea on the show, and then you
never hear of it again.
Yeah, you don't hear of it. I apologize.
Right.
Because something else came up that we liked better.
Right.
That's all that means.
That's right. Much more betterer, which we say almost every show. Much more betterer.
Yes, my wife is cringing right now. I guarantee it.
Excuse me. Right. We have good times. So that's like, in the show Psych, there's always a pineapple in every episode. So we have our much more betterer, and your George Lucas, it's like poetry, it rhymes.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Right. Oh, nice. Aaron brought up that's how we forced Steven to watch Joker. That is absolutely right. I did not want to watch Joker.
Oh, Aaron has a great point on that. Yes.
I did not want to watch Joker. But Aaron and Mike wanted, they wanted to talk about it. So I'm like, oh, okay, you guys want to talk about it? I'll do that. And I did. I watched Joker, and if you want to catch my reaction to that, you need to listen to the episode.
That was a good episode, man.
It actually was it's actually one of our top 10 all-time episodes.
Yeah.
And which has been really good. So yeah.
Oh, Megan has a point too.
What? And Halloween. Oh, that's true. I'm not a big horror movie guy.
Right. But you watched Halloween for the podcast.
I did. I watched Halloween for the podcast.
And that wasn't that at your wife's suggestion too? Because you weren't going to watch it originally.
Right. That's correct. And so then Kelly and we watched it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah.
Very much.
And you
so.
found out you didn't hate it as much as you thought you would.
That is correct. And if you want to get my reaction, you need to listen to that
Go
podcast.
back and watch that podcast.
Not that I'm trying to push you to listen to our podcast. I'm just like, we have so much we're talking about today and so much going on.
Well, we covered a lot of material over this last year too. So
a ton of material.
Man, a ton of material. Dang.
I mean, we have been consistent.
Yeah, we have.
We really have. A couple of things that Brian says I want to bring up. He goes, talking about our catchphrases. Brian says they've got theirs too. Every podcast has them. It's just natural. We try to be so natural with the show. And that's what I want to encourage you. If you're wanting to do a podcast, just be you. Just be natural. That's what we've done and had a blast doing it.
And I got a story about our podcast format later when we start going through the guests.
Okay.
Yeah. So something I want to talk about.
See, we're making it up on the fly as we go, guys.
That's the way
we know what we want to do, but then we just enjoy the time.
Normally, that's what we do.
That's normally what we do. Yeah, it's meant to be. One of the things, Mike, I really appreciate about what you've done with this has been, it was all about conversation. And then you had this whole idea about a virtual coffee table, and I loved it. And
well, I never wanted a scripted podcast. I don't want it all to be scripted. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. Everybody's got their formats and such.
Oh yeah, good call. Good call.
I wanted everything to be natural, and to me, I think you get a better flow when you just have a natural conversation. I think it's more fun that way. And I love that we've now went video. And we get viewers and we get interactions like we're having now and stuff. So that just adds to the
transition to. Love what we've transitioned to. Yes,
it has become really fun. So I have to thank actually Josh Wilson who we brought up some of his comments. Rob Baker. Rob Baker does a Twitch channel for he sells Pokemon cards. On Twitch.
Oh yeah. I subscribed to theirs.
Yeah,
because I wanted to see what they were doing and how they did it. It's a hoot.
But it was their suggestion that we hop on Twitch. Now I'll admit Twitch is not. We don't have a huge following on Twitch, but since we do this, we stream Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. And I think between the three, our video side of this is really growing.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I have to thank them for that because they're the ones that kept saying, you need to get on Twitch. And I'm like, I don't see an audience on Twitch. Okay, maybe the audience wasn't
it is true.
Twitch per se. It was others, but that's what got us there. So
it is. Well, I think here's the thing about Twitch. One of the things that we learned is that Twitch's algorithms are not as strong as YouTube's, but we are finding Facebook algorithm is nicer to us than all the above, all of those kind of a thing. So it's been interesting, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. So we pick Podbean. Oh, here we go. Brian has let me shout out to Brian. Brian, natural conversation is what we strive for too. Sometimes we have a rough outline, but we started just geeking around the table at Chili's. Yes. In
nice.
Massachusetts, and it morphed into a podcast.
Very good.
Brian, what I am learning, and we gotten the tip from Jason Swank. had said, from Rebel Force Radio had told us when we had him on the show, he had said, those are the best podcasts, that natural conversations between people who know each other and they were already doing it to begin with and they turned it into a podcast. Because that's really Jimmy and Jason. That's part of their story. I don't want to say that's the whole part of the story, but
now Jimmy and Jason do have some scripted stuff here and there. Yeah, Brian, I love Rebel Force Radio. I've been listening to them since the beginning. Well, I've been listening to Rebel Force Radio since they were the Force Cast, and when it was Jason and Pete, # bring back Pete. So Jimmy's listen. That's just a little jab to Jimmy. But if you know me, I love Jimmy, so he's great. He's awesome.
Yep. Well, you had even said in the beginning, he goes, hey, there's this podcast, Rebel Force Radio. I've been listening to them when they were in force.net, and I love them, and I want to be like them, kind of a thing. And so
I do borrow ideas from them.
Right. Well, that's okay. I mean, you take your, as you called them, your podcast heroes, and you emulate them and then make it your own kind of a thing.
Yep.
Go for Fluffernut. Scripted ones are all right, but I prefer a natural conversation style.
Agreed.
Yeah, we enjoy it. And it just, warts and all.
Warts and all, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we picked Podbean, trying to get back. So we picked Podbean and we just started with it and ran with it. And we were sensitive in the beginning if we were going to like it or not. In other words, we were like, well, we're still in the beginning. So if we want to go to Buzzsprout or Lisbon, we can, or whatever. We're not tied to it just yet. And the other thing about it is we liked behind the scenes or behind the hood. The engine. The analytics were nice. Plus, it walked us through, okay, how do we get this on Apple Podcast? How do we get this on Stitcher? How do we get this on Spotify? How do we, and there's even a section in the engine where you list all the podcasts that you're on and it gives you instructions on what to do and how to do it. I mean, it took us a couple of weeks. Boy, did it take us a couple of weeks to figure it out, because we're having trouble with Apple, I think, getting through on Apple in the beginning.
Yeah, but then I had seen comments from other podcasters that it generally took a couple weeks to get approved by Apple, and I think Google also. I forget, there was a couple.
I tell you what, we just got immediate boom.
It was like wow, and that's a pretty satisfying feeling once your podcast gets approved by some of these platforms. I mean, especially as big as Google, Amazon, and Apple. Those are huge. So your podcast gets approved by that, and you're going, it's like, yes, I just won the Super Bowl or something.
Right. We got accepted. We're big leagues. Now, one of the requirements that we had to get onto these is we had to have cover art.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, what are we going to do for cover art? Kind of a thing.
Now, I do have some background in digital art. I did graduate from ITT with a associates in multimedia. But I honestly have not been using Photoshop for a long time. So I was kind of playing around with some ideas and stuff. And my daughter, Megan, overheard me talking about a logo, and I didn't even know it. She's in her bedroom and she's like, starts drawing something out, and she comes in with a rough drawing, and basically what you see in my background and Steven's
behind us, and it's up top. You see it up top with her.
Yeah. That's basically her original drawing. And then I went and refined it.
There it is. I got it up a little bit so you can see a little bit bigger.
So then I went and refined it and colored it digitally, and that became our logo. And we've had some people reach out to us and, hey, you want me to redo your logo? No, I like my logo. Leave me alone.
It's not professional looking and clean. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Well, Junkman thought it was, or his son thought it was very professional looking. We'll get to that in a little bit too.
Oh, that's interesting. So Brian says, in regards to getting our podcasts on the major medias, he goes, yes, it's amazing feeling when they get accepted. And then being able to tell your listeners where you can be found. Yes. And then he said this. I have to ask, knowing your religious backgrounds, is that a hidden cross in the Shure 55 mic?
Wow. No.
And I've never looked at it as such until you just said that.
And I love that you pointed out that it's a Shure 55. We do not use Shure microphones, by the way. In fact, I think we discussed using Shure microphones.
We did,
no, you
actually.
We discussed it. You didn't have a Shure. What did you? You had a Snowball, didn't you?
I did. I had the Snowball.
Right. And we tested the Snowball because we talked about using Shure. Shure's expensive. I wouldn't mind getting a Shure, but they're expensive.
They're expensive. We're on a budget, folks.
So if you want to go subscribe to us on Ko-fi, we would gladly buy new Shure microphones.
We should do that. You can do that. You can do like special project giving and say,
maybe that's what we'll have to do
for Shure microphones. That's cute. That's funny.
So anyway, but we tried out your Snowball and I hated it.
Oh, you hated it, everybody.
Absolutely I absolutely hate it. I'm like, Steven, that sounds terrible. It's tinny. I don't like it. We're not using that.
Right?
Just throw that thing away.
Yep. Brian says that's what they used in the beginning as well. Yeah, because they're cute. They're funny. They're not super expensive. I mean, it's like 50, 60 bucks.
And everybody uses them too.
Yeah. And you're thinking, oh, well, everybody uses it. Must be a good microphone.
And I
not according to Mike, it was not a good microphone.
It was horrible. It sounded terrible.
So you had already gotten the Samson. That's what we have now.
Right, which is what Pat Flynn suggested. And
that was one of the ones he suggested, yes.
And then you got the same one. And I
did because you had gotten it. So I figured part of me was like, well, if you gotten it, then that way we can figure it out together and learn together.
Well, and then the funny thing was, okay, so when I started, I was just using this really cheap USB mic that I had for my computer. I don't even know what brand it was. It's just, one of those cheap things that you get for like karaoke and junk like that. Mm-hmm. And I recorded our intro with that. And I sent it to you and you played it to Kelly. And then after I got this one, I re-recorded the intro. And you had Kelly listen to the two. And she was the one who said, yeah, there's a big difference between those two recordings. She could really hear it. And it was that moment I said, yeah, this is the mic. This is what I want.
Brian, you're correct. It is because you just saw me looking at it, I'm sure. It is the Samsung Q2U.
Yeah, he's right. It is.
It is.
And we really like these. They've been good to us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It has been.
He knows his microphones, dude.
USB and XLR mics. That's correct. It's both.
I bow to your knowledge, sir.
Yeah, right. Oh, not worthy.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. Wayne's World. Party
Wayne's
on.
World.
I got a funny story about that too.
Yeah, they are. Brian says they are versatile mics. Yes. All right, we've almost been an hour in already. Oh,
I know.
Sorry about that.
And we haven't even got to our guest videos.
Right. Stop! I'm blushing.
No, you deserve it, dude. So yes. So we got the mics. We started recording, and then that's when I said, I got some guests planned.
Yeah, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Did you even think that we would have guests when I originally threw out this idea?
No.
You're right.
I sure didn't.
I started out
great forethought on your part, great visioneering, because I was like, oh, we'll get together and we'll talk and blah blah blah.
And that's all the years of I've been listening to podcasts for 17 years, and that's all the years of listening to podcasts. I'm just taking ideas from other people.
Yeah, that's
but
all right.
I wanted to have some guests, and so I threw out invitations to a couple people. One was Heather Goldman of Utini. because I was a big fan of Utini and their service. They had a great book service. Unfortunately, they don't do the book service that they used to. Now they just do a lot of YouTube videos and stuff on Star Wars books and everything.
Canon. They have a neat outline or timeline, timeline on their website,
right,
for Star Wars books and stuff. Yeah, I like it.
But Heather and I had talked back and forth through Facebook Messenger, and I liked her, and I thought she had some pretty good insight on the books. So I thought, oh, I'll invite Heather. So I threw out the invitation to her, and she immediately, yes, I'll be on your podcast. I was like, awesome. So,
what? We have a guest? I was like, it was great.
And then I threw out an invitation to Paul Bateman. And again, if you're a Rebel Force Radio listener, you know who Paul is. Paul is a fantastic guy. Love him.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for introducing thank you so much for introducing Paul Bateman.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He's an incredible guy. Across the pond, as you like to always state, and stuff.
So I threw out the invitation to him.
I'm go for Fluffernut was asking about use the timeline getting back into the books is Utini, so I put utini.com. I'm pretty sure that's the link. I'm afraid to use any more resources off my computer at the moment.
Nice. Utini is a good place to check for that. Go for Fluffernut.
Love it.
Anyway. I threw out invitations to Heather, to Paul, and to Chris Mott. Again, if you're a Rebel Force Radio listener, Chris Mott. See, I borrow a lot from RFR.
That's all right. Well, in the beginning, we started off primarily as a Star Wars podcast, even though we knew we would do more.
Right.
But we were like, let's start with something and we'll start doing Star Wars stuff.
Right. And we branched out into Marvel, DC, and horror movies. We do a little bit of everything. So, which I'm glad, because I love Star Wars. That's my first love in geekdom. But I love all kinds of geek stuff. So I'm glad that we touch more bases than just Star Wars. To me, it's more fun. We play in different universes. I like that.
Right. Oh gosh, don't start talking multiverse. I'm just kidding. If you're a fan of the show, I hate multiverse stuff.
Oh, you're getting.
It's growing on me. It's growing on
me. So I started reaching out to guests, and some of them said yes, and I was shocked. Right. So
yeah. Well, so let me ask you this: how did you start doing that? You had already been connecting through Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the guests all, like those first three. I didn't have any connection with Chris. Chris, I just reached out to him just as a fan of some of his work, and a fan of him being on RFR. And Chris is just kind enough to say, "Yeah, I'll be on your podcast." He's a cool guy. He's really cool. With Paul Bateman, he and I talked back and forth on Facebook. We already had, a prior relationship on
communication
Facebook.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I thought if anyone was open to it, he probably would. And Heather was the same way. Heather and I had been talking back and forth on Facebook and through Messenger and such. So those were just ones that, I had a feeling I could get them on the show, and that feeling was worked out. Now others I rolled the dice.
Okay. All right.
I just rolled the dice. There are times I'll see comments from people, and I'm like, wonder if I can get them on the show. And I've become bolder over the last year. When this first started, I was like, that person's never gonna say.
Oh my goodness, yes. You're right.
And now it's like I'm like the kid on Godzilla. Hey, you want to be on my podcast?
Right. What's your name? Podcast. Right. That's from Ghostbusters.
Right. So
excuse me. So I will say this. I have been surprised. It's been kind of fun. I think when we got Ian Descher on, the author of the Star Wars, or William Shakespeare Star Wars,
yeah.
it was kind of a funny story because you were like, guess who I can get on the show? He goes,
Well, now
we've got questions. I need you to write out a list of questions.
To be honest, I do that with almost every guest. Hey, you're never going to guess who I got on the show.
That is true. That is true. You never guess.
Hey, guess who I got scheduled?
Right.
And you're like, I don't know. Who did you get scheduled?
Right.
You're like, I don't want to play this stupid game. Come on.
Right. Just tell me. I don't have time for guessing games. Come on. I'm on a tight schedule here.
Right. And I just want to have fun with it. So.
Right.
And I'm normally really excited when I get a guest. So no matter who they are.
Right.
Oh, somebody wants to be on our show.
Right.
So yeah, why don't we play some of our videos? Some of our guests were kind enough to wish us a happy first.
Yeah.
So we'll start off here.
So bear with us as we use technology that we're not used to using yet. This is kind of fun.
All right. So
hopefully it comes in pretty clear.
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Hello and happy anniversary to Two Geeks and a Microphone, from one podcast and content creator to another. You guys know it is not an easy thing to do. So happy you guys made it through a whole year. Wishing you guys all the best for year number 2. As you know, it's a lot of hard work and it's a lot of commitment, especially when there's two of you, hence the name Two Geeks and a Microphone. So I look forward to being on the show again, and thank you for having me as a guest on one of your earlier episodes. It was a very, very fun experience. So cheers to you guys. Happy anniversary.
So yeah,
cheers to you, Chris. Cheers to you.
So Chris actually was our first guest. Heather was scheduled as our first guest, and then the timing worked out that Chris ended up being our first guest. So Heather was supposed to be. Chris ended up being our first guest. And if you guys don't know who Chris Mott is, Chris he directed. Oh shoot, I'm gonna get the names of them wrong. He directed 2 Star Wars documentaries, Star Wars fan documentaries. The Force Among Us and The Force With Us, I think they're both called.
Yeah, they're on. If you want to check them out, I know that they are on
Amazon. Yes. He does a great job, and he interviewed a lot of cool people.
Oh, it's well done.
Yeah, he does a very good job. He did that. If you're a fan of the Walking Dead universe, he's also did I think what is it? He did a Walking Dead one. I don't remember what it's called. Something about Among Us.
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah,
but I'm not a big Walking Dead fan. So
right. So if you're a fan of that, he also did one of that, and then he had a TV series on Amazon. The real fans of the saga, I believe it's called.
That sounds about right.
And it's some of the people that are in it are actually in his documentary too. So,
if you want to catch him recently, his YouTube channel is Mocktails from the Cantina. And all there it is. Love it.
Yeah, I got some swag from Chris. He gave me some
nice.
Yeah. Oops.
Mocktails from the Cantina.
This is my favorite.
You've been on his show a couple of times too, right?
Yeah, I had the honor of being on. He did some baseball episodes. He is a major baseball fan. I like sports.
Is he a major baseball fan or a major baseball fan?
Oh my God, he absolutely freaking loves baseball. Okay. And he knows that I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan. I'm actually a bigger football fan nowadays than I am a baseball. There was a time I was a huge baseball fan, but I'm more of a football fan today. Dallas Cowboys. My Cowboys are in the playoffs. They're playing the 49ers tomorrow, and I hope they kick the 49ers' butts. Anyway. So Chris knows that I'm a Cardinals fan, and since Cardinals had made it into the playoffs in the wild card spot, he asked me to be on the show to represent Cardinal Nation. I was very proud to. Wasn't on the show very long because they didn't stay in the playoffs long. And the idea was when your team got eliminated, you were eliminated from the shows. So,
okay.
But I was on.
That's
He had me
awesome.
on a couple episodes after that too.
It
was a fun time. Chris is great. Yeah, check out his YouTube channel. It's Mocktails from the Cantina. Huge collector. Because he shows you his basement, and he's got a lot of cool Star Wars collectibles, man. Amazing. And that video that he did, he was on vacation, which I really appreciate, Chris. I hope you're watching. Thank you so much. Because you took the time out during your vacation in Hawaii,
right,
to record a video for us. And I really appreciate that. So
yeah, thank you so much. So
cheers to you, my friend.
That's right. Cheers, Chris Mott. We've got our drinks. Cheers. I know.
Although Chris would prefer us having an alcoholic beverage, but I don't have a margarita ready, so. All right.
All right. So who else we got on the shout out list?
So our next one, if I can do this right.
You can.
Bear with me, folks.
It's all good, everybody. We referenced this individual earlier. If Mike is going down the list that I have.
If it's the list I made, I am.
Right on.
If she's going to play, come on, play.
Did you share the screen yet?
Oh, maybe that's the problem. Duh.
There we go. And then this is
Heather Goldman. And I don't know why her video is not playing. Technical difficulties, folks.
Oh, that's weird.
Here, let me take it off screen for a second.
I'm sure.
Here, you talk a minute and see if I can.
Yeah, no problem. So we're going to show you Heather Goldman. We already referenced her earlier with Utini, utini.com. And if you're interested, if you're a big reader, if you like reading and you like Star Wars, that's a great resource to help you. What may be the best episodes or the best books to read for a certain topic? Do you want Sith? Do you want Jedi? Do you want Han Solo? Do you want Luke Skywalker? Do you want, they break it down. They don't tell you, and there's some that hey, here's our top 10 list and those kinds of things. And so that's where it's, it's a great resource to look if you're a big Star Wars fan. And the timeline really helps. We probably could have used that timeline as we were talking in our Boba Fett episode, because we were like, okay, now wait a minute, when is this all happening? Wait, this Mandalorian, this is before he meets the Mando, but probably pretty soon there, and this is after the Sarlacc pit. So this is, so anyway, it's just kind of neat to have that as well. Real quick, Brian says it's after 5 p.m. He's having his whiskey on the rocks.
Nice.
Thank you. I'm just curious what kind of whiskey you got.
I don't know, but Jason
Elijah
Swank
RFR
would be proud of him. All right, I got Heather, so let's switch back.
Okay, let's do this.
Let me see if I can do this properly.
You can.
Hi guys, I'd like to congratulate 2 Geeks and a Microphone on their 1-year anniversary. I am so proud of you guys. That is really not such an easy task. Trust me, I know. It's been such a great honor having me on the show early February last year. I had such a great time talking about Star Wars books, and I love Star Wars books so much because to me, they're essential to the overall lore. There is so much content out there that you'd be missing out on so much. For anyone listening who has been wanting to get into the books, a recommendation would be Light of the Jedi. brand new era, beginning of such a long line of future books to come out. It's just such a great start to your journey, I guarantee. Anyways, guys, I am so proud of you for making it this far. Keep it up, and may the force be with you.
She had her mug.
Yay.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that was Heather. Like I said, Heather was scheduled to be our first guest ever, and scheduling just worked out that Chris ended up beating her on the show.
Right.
But Heather was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
She was fun. She was pretty insightful too.
Yeah. And I dabble in the Star Wars books. I tend to dabble more in the quote unquote legends side of Star Wars. I prefer most of those in the book wise. But I have my books in the canon, the new Disney canon era too. I tend to stick with the Thrawn books for those though. Those tend to be my favorites.
Right on.
Okay.
I'm not a big book reader, you guys. Actually, I do read. But there's so much out there. It's been great. Mike's been a great resource for me about, okay, which one should I read? Which one should I not read? Or, those kinds of things. And which has been really good. So really helpful for me. But one of the things that Mike's done is gotten us into really getting to know other people, getting to know, as we briefly mentioned Ian Descher earlier today, but other authors, and having that opportunity to meet with others and introduce me to a whole bunch of folks. So Timothy Zahn is the best. Oh, whoops. He does not make technological errors scientifically. I'm probably talking about Timothy Zahn. We tried to get him on the show.
We did. I reached out to Timothy. He did respond to me, and he turned me down. But I don't look at that as a never. I mean, if he actually responded, and he did, I look at that as I have a chance. So
right.
So to quote Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, and I'm sure he probably laughed at us thinking that's kind of a thing. So yeah. Okay, who's next on our list?
Oh, wait a minute. Brian said something here. The Expanse books by James S.E. Corey are great books.
I have heard that.
I don't know those. Expanse, like the TV series?
It is. They're based on books.
Okay. Interesting.
I've heard that they're really good. I've got a friend out here in the neighborhood who has them and says they're really good and watches the show.
Okay, cool.
And
I might have to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. Ready for our next guest?
I am ready for our next guest. So exciting.
Right.
So exciting.
Oops. Share my screen.
Here we go. Do.
This is Aaron, the Geek with a Bible here, addressing Stephen, Michael, Bubbies. Congratulations on your year of podcasting. See, this is very impressive because you didn't go the route that I am so prone to go of having a month or two of consistency and then falling off the grid and then coming back on for a little while, then going, no. You have stayed the course. And I see it's a lot of comparison between you and Batman, because, Batman, every night, he goes out to fight evil, to save those who are being robbed, who are being oppressed, and he puts his life on the line. So very similarly, you guys, week after week, say, I'm going to talk about movies. And that is impressive. And you might get like Batman, where you think, oh, does it even really matter? Is this actually doing anything? Is this improving anything? But you know what? I bet somewhere out there's a little boy who he's in a desperate state. of loneliness and isolation. And he talks to his mom in a moment of vulnerability and says, "Mom, I just feel so alone." And she said, "Well, why is that? Why is that, little Johnny?" And Johnny says, "Well, Mom, I just feel like I'm the only one who thinks that Venom is the best movie to come out of Marvel." And the mom has to look at her son with tears in her eyes and say, I can't lie to you. I think that you're right. I think you must be the only one who feels that way. But because of you guys and your continual week after week service to the geek community, now little Johnny, I bet that he will hear and discover that, yes, there is somebody else who actually believes that Venom is the #1 Marvel movie. So my hat is off to you guys. Congratulations. Thank you very much for all the times that you guys have allowed me to come on and to spout all my philosophical nonsense. Keep it up. I love being on there whenever I get the chance, and I hope you guys keep going with it.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny.
Oh, Aaron blows me away. Oh my gosh. He's so funny. So yeah, I should have known he was going to get that dig in on me. I've taken a lot of crap since our Venom review.
Right.
I do love Venom. I do not think it's currently the best MCU movie. I do believe that the Spider-Man No Way Home is now the current best MCU movie. Yeah, I took a lot of crap for that, but you know what? I don't care. I love Venom. Venom is awesome. And
That
yes,
cracked
me and Johnny share that.
Little Johnny. Oh my goodness, we're going to keep talking about little Johnny for years to come.
Yeah, well, little Johnny, I'm with you, buddy.
Oh my goodness, that was funny. Aaron, thank you. We love having you on the show. You can check out his stuff, Geek with a Bible, on Facebook and on YouTube and his channel and stuff like that. So, and all.
Yeah, Aaron and I have been friends for many years. We went to church together for many years. And like we said earlier, check out Aaron's show. He's got a lot of great insight, and we do call him our philosopher of the Two Geeks and a Microphone show. So
yeah, he's a great, genuine guy.
Yeah, I love Aaron. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Hold on.
All right.
All right. So,
ready for the next one?
I'm ready for our next one. You
All
betcha.
Right. Here we go. This is gonna be great. We're gonna love this.
Okay.
Oops, wait a minute. Let me.
This is a YouTuber, everybody. This is great.
Bear with me 1 second here.
You got it.
Okay, there we go.
Hold on, checking my phone. Should edit this out, I know. But I just want to double check. Yep, 1 year. It's been 1 year since you guys started your podcast. 2 geeks and 1 microphone. Well, now that it's been a year, I think it's time for a new microphone. 2 geeks and 2 microphones. Well, I don't know. The name's catchy as it is, so I don't think you need 2 microphones. But I want to thank you for having me on your show this year. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully this year we can do it again. I know that first year doing podcasts is kind of rocky, but you guys hung in there. That's what I tell people when they ask me some advice about starting YouTube or podcast. You just got to keep doing it, because that first year, or maybe even longer than that, is hard to get the growth that you think you deserve. But you guys deserve it, and I see that you're getting it. So I want to thank you again for having me on this year, and I look forward to doing it again. And congratulations for your 1 year anniversary. Hopefully I'll see you at the end of this year for your 2nd anniversary. It's the Junk Man. That's about all I've got to say to congratulate you. So, congratulations. That was a horrible ending.
Oh my goodness!
All right. If you don't know who that is the Junk Man, or that Junk Man, I should say.
Right.
He is on YouTube. He is a YouTuber. He's got a pretty big following too. I've been watching.
I had
Junk
not
Man
heard
for
of
a long
him
time.
because I had not heard him because I'm not a collector,
right?
Like you are. But boy, did I learn some stuff from him.
Yeah, he's fun. He is so much fun.
He's a
so
hoot.
I've been watching him for few years. And you know, like I've said before, I'm a action figure collector. Excuse me. And my main focus is original vintage Kenner Star Wars action figures.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a love for Kenner. So I naturally gravitated to his videos. And I think he's a hoot. I love him. He's so much fun. He does some goofy videos, but it's great. So I reached out to him. You know, with him, I kind of had a repertoire going with him on Facebook. He and I became friends. Probably, I guess, a year before the show. I don't know, something like that. And he and I talked back and forth every now and then. And I was like, "Hey, want to be on my podcast?" And now with him, it took a little scheduling. We had
if I remember
to reschedule a few times, and you know, but we got everything straightened out, and we had him on the show, and we had a good time with him. So he was kind enough to do the video for us, and I loved his video. I thought it was great.
Oh, it was great. I love that, especially at the end. Oh, it's a terrible ending. That's all him.
It's just so him. If you've ever watched his YouTube videos, that is so him. I mean, he even messaged me afterwards. He's like, "Hey, I sent your video." He goes, "Hey, if you want me to redo that, I'll redo it." I'm like, "No, dude, it's perfect. I love it. It is so you." So,
oh my goodness.
So yeah, so we had the Junk Man. I love him.
Yep. So if you're into collecting and stuff, check out his YouTube channel. He does all kinds of unique stories behind toys, and he cracked me up. One of my favorite series that he did was the whole thing about toys being sold on Craigslist toys and stuff like that. What people are saying that they are, and he's like, it is not that, you know, kind of a thing. It is so funny. You know, oh, here, buy a Millennium Falcon, and they're showing a Star Trek ship or something.
Right.
You know, he's just so funny. I know he doesn't do them a whole lot because they're pretty labor intensive for him, because he finds them, he researches, stuff, but they are absolutely hysterical. And
those are some of his funniest videos.
His unique form of humor, his wit is just it is unique, and it's wonderful. It really is. So I've quite enjoyed him and stuff. Okay, who's next on our list? This is great. This is fun.
So next up, we have Mr. John Jackson Miller.
This is John Jackson Miller, author of Star Wars and Star Trek novels, wishing Two Geeks and a Microphone a happy first anniversary.
All right.
Oh, that's so nice. He took time out to do that.
Yeah, John's a really super guy. I like him. John was one of those I reached out to just on a whim. I don't know, something came up. I know what it was. There was the announcement that the Kenobi series was coming out. And I'm a big fan of John's his novel Kenobi. He has a novel called Kenobi. I'm a big fan of that. And in fact, I bought that novel from Utini when Utini was still selling books.
Awesome.
Another
it's
shout
all
out
connected,
to
everybody.
That's
it's all
right.
connected.
So, you know, out of the blue, I reached out to him. I'm like, "Hey, you know, would you like to be on the podcast?" And he said yes. And he was a super guy. He was a lot of fun. I enjoyed having him on the show. And I'm hoping to reach out to him, and I'm hoping to get him back on. I'd like to get his insight on Boba Fett and see what he thinks about the Tusken Raiders. I'd love to get his insight.
Yeah, because of his work with it. Yeah. I do want to say this about, if you want to find him, farawaypress.com. Or just look up John Jackson Miller on Google. If you Google him, it'll pop it up. I really appreciated that interview because that introduced us to the concept of headcanon, what we termed headcanon today. In many of you guys in our episodes, you'll hear us talk about, well, in my headcanon, blah, 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 blah. That all began with our interview with John Jackson Miller. Excuse me. So if you want to go back and listen to that, it's a great interview because we were talking about certain things. I can't remember, but he was like, "Hey, It was so great. He was so gracious about it. There's nothing saying that can't be your headcanon.
Right.
And I was like, I love that, kind of a thing. And it was really well done. I mean, I'm sure he's used to doing these little tight ropes, between being employed to do books, writing books, and then hearing fans and back and forth and stuff. So yeah, I did get his some people may not know, but he was behind the stories of the comics, The Old Republic. They put it in an omnibus, and I got one from him.
Oh, you got one of the was that autographed or?
It is, yeah.
Nice.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay. So yeah, Steven bought the omnibus. It came out just a few months ago, and yeah, it's like all of the Old Republic comics all into one. I think it's a hardback book too. It's a really nice hardback bind book. And I believe it is a signed edition too. He'll show us here in a second. So
Okay.
You got your book?
I do. So here it is, the Star Wars.
That's a beautiful cover too.
Yeah, this one was a little more limited one. I went ahead and paid a little. Did I pay a little bit more for it? I think I did. Look how thick this monster is. But then,
may the force be with you, John Jackson Miller. Nice.
Yeah, he would have put in anything we wanted to, if I wanted to put in anything, but I would just keep it just nice, like that. So
that's cool. Very cool.
It was very gracious of him, and
I liked him. He was a good guest.
He was a good guest. He really was, and I really appreciated that and stuff. So yeah. All right. Next, who's next? All right.
Next up,
let me take off John Jackson Miller. Oh, it's Andrew.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Steven. Congratulations on your 1-year anniversary. That is so awesome. So happy for you guys. You guys have such an awesome podcast. Enjoyed every episode I've listened to. You've had some amazing guests, and I was honored to be one of them. And thank you again so much for having me. It was a blast talking the wars with you guys. Man, we talked about a little bit of everything, and it was so much fun. And I think that's something as Star Wars fans we need to remember, that it's okay to have fun with Star Wars. And yeah, it was like I said, it was a blast, and can't wait to see what the future for your podcast holds. And here's to many more episodes. And thank you guys for being a blessing to this geek. I've enjoyed our conversations throughout the year on social media, and yeah, just thank you guys, and may the force be with you, and God bless you and your families.
All right.
Oh, that's great.
So that was Andrew Staples. Andrew started the Facebook group Escape Pod. So that's how I got to know Andrew. Well, I got to know Andrew through the Rebel Force Radio group, and then Andrew created Escape Pod, and a lot of us from the RFR group are in the Escape Pod. It's a smaller, intimate, community over there. But yeah, so Andrew's a good guy, and we talked about having him on the episode, on one of our episodes, and originally we were going to talk about Han Solo. We were going to kind of do a character study, and it kind of morphed into more of Timothy Zahn and Mount Tantus, because Mount Tantus was mentioned in The Mandalorian at that time.
Yeah.
And it just morphed into that instead.
We just went off the rails like crazy.
Yeah, we completely went off the rails with that episode, but it was so much fun. We had a great time.
It was very organic and conversational.
I actually watched Rise of Skywalker with Andrew, sorta. So Andrew Staples threw out the idea in the Escape Pod for everyone to watch Rise of Skywalker together one night, and then he and I were the only ones that jumped into the face group post.
Mhm.
And the two of us watched it together and just commented back and forth, and we had the best of time. It was so much fun. So yeah, that was a great episode, actually. It wasn't what we expected it to be, but we just had a blast, and we'll have to have Andrew back on. And it was nice that he had his mug too. So that's something else that I started doing with every guest that we have on. I try and send them a Two Geeks and a Microphone coffee mug. Oh,
Mhm.
that was the thing I wanted to mention. I forgot with Junkman. So when Junkman, and then if I send you a mug, I try to get you to send a picture, and we put it up on our mug wall on
On our
Facebook.
mug wall. Mhm.
Right. So Junkman, I send the mug, and then I try and check with them to make sure they receive it. So when Junkman got his mug, he said, "Yep, I got it. Thank you very much." And he goes, "My son said that is very professional looking." So, so there we go. So, but yeah, so Andrew had his mug, and I really appreciate that. That's awesome.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. All right. Well, cool. Well, Andrew was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that episode really because it was so unpretentious. In other words, very conversational, very genuine conversation, just three guys getting together and hanging out. And it was a lot of fun. And by the way, I love the Facebook group. Memes that come through the Facebook group are hysterical. So Andrew, thank you. Thank you for doing, hosting that group and people having conversations and stuff. And there's some really fun, enlightening stuff. And he did make a comment, I guess it was yesterday, today, or something like that. Just about, look, we may like the same things about Star Wars. We may not like the same things, but it's great to have discussions. But he was like, debates, you don't get upset over it. That's how it should be.
Right.
Let's just enjoy the conversations and stuff. And he's a genuine guy. He just wants people just to hang out and enjoy talking about Star Wars, not arguing, not fighting, but just having a good time talking about it. And that's what we should do. So yeah,
I agree. Let's throw up Brian's comment real quick.
Oh, sure. Let me get over there. He says, Mike, that's a great idea. I've been wanting to do something similar with our podcast too. So far, we have no merch though.
So, yeah, merch is something that early on I wanted to take that on. I mean, I figured, hey,
are you going to tell the story? Are you going to tell the story how many merch things
how I got in trouble? how I got kicked off of a merch store? Sure, I'll tell that story. I'll be glad to tell that story.
It's part of our podcast journey.
Yeah, it sure is. That is definitely part of our journey. So, I guess halfway through the year we started with the merch. I figured we have a logo. Why not get some merchandise out there? And I mean, the first idea was T-shirts and coffee mugs. And the coffee mugs is basically, since we already had the idea of the virtual coffee table, I thought it was natural. Why don't we have coffee mugs?
I thought it was brilliant. Yep.
And I love the idea of giving each guest a coffee mug, because that way they had a souvenir from the show, something to remember us by. It's practical. It's something you can use, so I thought it was a fantastic idea. I also have a Facebook page. I haven't updated in a long time, where I was dabbling in some action figure photography. Not the best, just some stuff that
just
I
having a
enjoy
good
doing.
time.
I mean, it doesn't compare to some of the stuff on the internet that's action figure photography wise, but it was just some fun things. And I had a couple of them that I really liked, and I actually put those on some T-shirts and some coffee mugs.
Right.
And the background I use is from Cardboard Galaxies. Check out Cardboard Galaxies if you like action figures. He does some amazing work.
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful stuff.
When you showed me that stuff, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so good.
I mean, some of it looks like it's straight out of the movie. Oh, maybe that's why I got kicked off the merch page.
Maybe.
So I had a couple particular items. One had the Death Star scene of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader dueling. It had the background where you see the Millennium Falcon in the background and everything. Love that scene, and I tried to recreate it with my action figures and decided to put it on a t-shirt and coffee mug. And it had been up there for, I don't know, a month or two, something like that.
Right.
And then I had actually put in for another design for the podcast, put in a t-shirt for another design. One of those t-shirts got sold. And then our store got taken down.
Right.
So I got
it with Zazzle, right?
Yeah, that was with Zazzle.
Started off with Zazzle,
which I love the Zazzle mugs. The Zazzle mugs were fantastic. In fact, that's the mugs that both Heather and Andrew Staples showed.
That's this mug.
Yep, that's our original mug. It is a collector's item now.
Zazzle.
Yeah, one shirt worth $1 million. That's right. My friend Teresa has that shirt, and she has one of a kind. I don't even have it. Anyway, so I got a email from Zazzle saying that I got a copyright strike, and I'm like, I got a copyright on what? I'm like, we own our
logo, right? I mean,
and it turned out it was on the Darth Vader and Obi-Wan scene. I guess it looked too much like the actual scene out of the movie. The background, I guess they thought I actually pulled it out from the movie. But that's actually a background that was used from Cardboard Galaxies. Again, Cardboard Galaxies is amazing. If you're into action figures, go check them out. So yeah, they gave me a copyright strike, and I thought that you get up to 3 copyright strikes before you get kicked off. Oh, no, not on Zazzle. Zazzle, I was done by the end of the day. They completely took us off. So we no longer had our store in Zazzle. I was like, what am I going to do?
Right.
I came up with merch, and now we have nothing. So we've moved our store over to I'm bad, Steven. I don't remember the name of the company we're using now.
I keep wanting to say Teespring, but
no,
that's not right. That's the other one that we looked into.
Yeah, I didn't like them as much. Anyway, so we have a new store. I do not put the action figure stuff in there because I don't want to get any more copyright strikes.
Right.
So yeah. Yeah, that was our experience.
TeePublic, not Teespring.
TeePublic's our new one, right? So far, TeePublic's been very good to us too. We've got several T-shirts up there. We've got new coffee mugs. I love our new design. You got? I do.
Oh, I just hit my head.
Yeah, so it's kind of opposite of our original one.
Right.
I love that design. I think it looks fantastic.
I do like it. Yep.
And then we have the travel mugs too, which I really like these travel mugs.
I do. I don't have one of those yet. I like that.
Be jealous. I have one. So if you want some Two Geeks merch, go check out our merch page. You can get to it from our webpage.
Yeah. Now here's the nice thing is you do the logo, you upload your logo, and then you apply it to whatever. T-shirts. I love zip up hoodies, and
oh yeah, we have
a nice too. I do. I have a nice blue one, but it's in the wash right now. So I don't have it on. I should have for 1 year. Should have had it ready. I've been sick all week.
That's right. You're wearing one of our T-shirts. It's cool.
I am. I'm wearing.
Yeah.
You got the Jersey one. I do like that one too. I got one of those, but my wife stole it. So
it's a nice shirt.
It is a nice shirt.
Yeah. All right, we ready for our next guest?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Next guest.
Here we go.
Next shout out. I'm not going to put this up until there it is.
Hi, Mike and Steven. This is Ian Descher, author of the William Shakespeare Star Wars series. wishing Two Geeks and a Microphone a happy 1-year anniversary. Thank you so much for a fun time recording with you guys and just laughing and geeking out about all things Star Wars and Avengers and everything else. Good luck with future and happy 1 year.
And that is Ian Descher. Ian was one of those I just reached out to on a whim. I had no idea what would happen. And yeah, we had an interesting story out of Ian. So yeah, I reached out to Ian. I asked him if he'd like to be on the show. We'd love to talk about William Shakespeare Star Wars. I am a fan of that. It is so funny. The audios are even better than the books just because.
Oh my goodness. That's how I got hooked. Was the audio.
And Mark Thompson is in the audios too, which we have Mark on also. So yeah, I reached out to Ian, and Ian's first response was, "I would love to, but
right, but
you have to go through my
agent."
Yeah, my agent or
the publishing company. The publishing firm.
That's what. You have to go through my publisher, Quirk Books.
Yep.
And my first thought was, oh yeah, we're never going to get him.
Right.
Because they're not going to give it to us.
Well, they had to go to Lucasfilm, right?
Right. So I was like, all right, give me their contact information and I'll try. So yeah, I got their contact information, emailed them. She got back with me and she says, okay, I would love to be your what'd she say, go-between on this. I will forward your request to Disney/Lucasfilms. And I went, wow. I didn't know we were going there. That's pretty cool. So again, I was like, yeah, they're not going to pay attention to us, whatever. Right. And I forgot all about it. I didn't, I went like a month.
Well, that was the one they came back and they said, hey, we need a list of questions.
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, she came back. She said, okay, Disney wants to know, okay, they wanted the details on the podcast, how long we record, when we record, and they wanted a list of questions. And I went, oh, crap. I'm like, that's not how we do our podcast, though. Everything's kind of on the fly.
Conversational style coffee table action going on. Yeah.
What? Sorry, I got to bring this up. Mike, please do my next research paper. Oh, you do not want me doing your next research paper. I was not the best student in high school. I was a better student in college, but that's another story. Anyway, so yeah, she's like, I need a list of questions, and I went, Steven,
yeah,
this is your area, not mine.
And I worked hard on those questions, by golly.
Yes, you did a great job on those questions.
Thank you.
Which I knew you would. So yeah, I threw that over to you. I said, okay, this is more your area than mine. Take care of this.
Yep.
So you came up with a list of questions, and we sent that to her, and she replied. She says, these sound great. I will send them on. And hence the wait started.
Right.
I completely forgot. So the funny thing was, I went to Barnes and Noble one day and bought some Star Wars books, man. And the girl at the checkout counter, when I went to pay for them, she looks at my choice of books and she says, so you're into Star Wars? Yeah. She says, have you ever heard of William Shakespeare Star Wars? And I start laughing. And I go, yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm trying to get the author on my podcast. And she went, you have a podcast? So then I give her a sticker, hence the merchandise. Yeah, Brian, that's another great thing to take note of. Make stickers with your logo on it. Pass out stickers with your logo and your website. I do that everywhere I go. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, I have a podcast. I reached out to the author. I'm trying to get the author on my podcast. He says, so here's the information. Check out our podcast, so on and so forth. So I left the store and I was like, yeah, I haven't heard back from her. So I sent her another email, and that was on the weekend. Monday morning, I get an email from her, and she says, I am so sorry. I dropped the ball on this. You have the go-ahead. And I went, what? And immediately I'm calling Steven going, guess what?
I know. It's like, what?
We got Ian Descher.
Right.
So I was so excited. I'm like, this is freaking awesome, man. So we scheduled the recording. And then she told us something else amazing, which I wasn't expecting. So Ian was about to release his Marvel, William Shakespeare Marvel.
Avengers.
Right. And she said they want you to hold off on releasing this until closer to the release of the Marvel Shakespeare book.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, we were a part of his release plan for the Marvel Shakespeare.
We were part of the media blitz.
Right. And I was just like, wow, never expected that. If you would have said when we first started this podcast,
right,
hey, you're going to get Ian Descher, the author of William Shakespeare Star Wars. Not only are you going to get Ian Descher, you're going to be a part of his media launch.
For
one
a
of
new
his
book, right? Oh,
I would have said, you're freaking crazy.
Right. You know, the other thing that was so nice about him, that podcast was phenomenal. It was a hoot. We connected with him. He was easy to talk with, great storyteller. I mean, obviously, genuinely nice guy. Oh my goodness. And he even gave us some author plates to do for giveaways, which I thought was just great to have those author plates. So we did do a whatchamacallit, a giveaway of a couple of the books along with the author plates to go, so the author plates would go with them. And I think, what did they say? May the bard be with you.
Yes.
Kind of thing. We did not keep any of those. We did give those out to everybody, even though,
I got accused of somebody saying that I was going to keep them.
I thought it.
No, we couldn't do that. We had to give those away.
No, we did give those away. He was nice enough to do this.
We actually gave one away to Matt Hempel, who we actually ended up having on the podcast too as a guest also.
We sure did.
Matt's another friend of mine, and Matt is a huge action figure collector, not just Star Wars. He collects
all
kinds of action figures.
Yeah.
And when I delivered, because I hand delivered it to him. So what we did was, you had to like the Facebook page and you had to leave the comment, may the bard be with you. And if you did that, you got in the drawing,
entered into the drawing
to win a William Shakespeare book of your choice, William Shakespeare Star Wars book of your choice, and the nameplate, the May the Bard Be With You autographed plate from Ian. So, and the funny thing is, I don't remember the name of the person that won.
Right.
But it was this really odd name. And I actually took all of the names. I wrote them down on slips of paper. I put them into a St. Louis Cardinals camo baseball hat.
Right.
And I had my daughter draw the names. And I kept saying, don't draw that one name. Don't draw that one name, because I can't say that one name. I don't know what that one name is.
Right.
And sure enough, she draws that name.
Yeah. He ended up being pretty nice, though, too.
Yeah,
right?
He was a good guy. He communicated back with us, and he was very nice. And I liked him. And he had a funny story behind his name, but I don't remember all of it. So, yeah. That was a good time.
Right.
I really enjoyed having Ian on. He was such a super nice guy.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. And if you get the Audible versions of those, they are Fantastic.
Oh my gosh, they're so funny.
The Marvel one, it's only the book right now. There's just the book that just got released. Right. And you got that, didn't you? Didn't you get that?
Yes, I did. That's a big book too. Nice hardback book too.
Is it?
It's too far away for me to get right now.
Right, I hear you.
All right. Ready for our next guest?
I'm ready for our next guest.
All right.
All right.
It's Boba Fett here, and it's the 1 year anniversary of Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. I think they deserve a round of... I was getting to that, R2. I think they deserve a round of applause. Thank you. May the force be with you.
Oh, Mark is so good. I love him.
So everybody, that's Mark Anthony Austin. You can find him, search Boba Fett, ANHSE. That's a New Hope special edition. He played Boba Fett for the special edition. He is a hoot.
Oh my gosh,
he has become one of my favorites. Well, many of these are my favorites. I've just enjoyed this whole journey. And our last episode with him, excuse me, we did Boba Fett episode 1 with him. And before we got on, or maybe it's even in the podcast, I can't remember.
No, it wasn't in the podcast. It was before.
It was not in. Okay, it wasn't in the podcast. He leans in. He leans into his mic, and
I may have a recording. I may have a recording of him saying it, but
oh, this was great. He leans in. He's looking up and goes, "Nobody said I had to be sober for this, right?" Oh my gosh, he was a hoot.
Now, mind you, we recorded that on the 29th, which was the release of Boba Fett. Mm-hmm. So, we're in between Christmas and New Year's, and I got a feeling he was partying with some family or friends and having a really good time that week. And yeah, like you said, he said to me, he goes, "Nowhere in the email did you state that I have to be sober for this." And I said,
"Right,
yeah, technically you're right. I never did.
That's right."
That. And oh my gosh, he was so funny.
He was funny. He really was.
But that, so yeah, Mark was another one I kind of reached out to on a whim. Mark was on RFR actually, and he was promoting the his web or his YouTube channel, because he has a YouTube channel. You should check that out. And he does a Boba Fett
show,
which is not his, it's somebody else's. I don't remember who does that one, but just look up Boba Fett.
It's No Disintegrations.
Yeah, No Disintegrations. That's right. That's the channel.
Yep.
But it's like it's him as Boba Fett giving advice to other bounty hunters. It's just funny as all get out. I love it. I love it. He is so much fun. So he was a blast. We actually had him on twice. So we had him on for that, and he promoted that. And then we had him on the second time for Boba Fett. I'm hoping to get him on at the end of the Boba Fett season once it's done. My thinking was there are a ton of podcasts out there who are reviewing Boba Fett, but how many of them actually have Boba Fett on their episode?
That's right. By golly, that's right.
Granted, it's not Tamara Morrison, but
right,
but he did play Boba Fett.
He did,
and if you go back and listen to that first episode he was on with us, he has some great stories about him and how he got the part, got to play Boba Fett in that episode, or that scene,
the special edition, plus a big Lucasfilm party, and
and he got to play Boba Fett at a Lucasfilm party, and it was just great stories. Highly recommend going back and listen to that episode.
And he's on Cameo.
Yeah, we can't forget that he does cameos. So and Stephen bought me a cameo with Mark, and he's fantastic. He goes out of his way to do a great cameo. So if you don't know what cameo is, It's this site you can go to, and it's a lot of celebrities, and you can pay for them to do a special video for you, for your loved one, whatever, for birthday, Christmas, whatever occasion, And some of them they do an okay job. They don't do bad, but man, Mark really goes out of his way. He makes sure it's really personable. He tries to get as many details from you. He wants you to put as many details in possible so he can make it specialized to you. And he takes time on it. It's not like, he just hops on and says, "Hi, Mike. This is Boba Fett. Happy birthday. Goodbye." He makes it personal, and he does a really good job. So check out Mark, and he does reasonable prices too. They're not too expensive. So check him out. Check him out on Cameo. It's well worth it.
Yep. All right. Who else we got? We're running out. We got 2 more.
Okay.
Oh, very exciting. Very exciting.
Oops. Let me go full screen. Bear with me, folks.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right. Here we go. And play.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I know I was supposed to do this a while ago, but I got super busy with work, and then I got super forgetful, and then the holidays happened, and then I had a pretty severe brain injury, so it's kind of crazy. But I do want to congratulate you on making it to your 1-year anniversary. 2 Geeks and a Microphone. I had a great time when I was on the podcast. You guys have a really great friendly flow. And I think anybody would love it if you want to have some great Star Wars discussions. So please check them out. I'm sorry this is so late. I hope you can still use it, but if not, I apologize. And don't be like me. Don't procrastinate on this podcast. Do or do not. There is no try. If you put it off, you might get a brain injury. So, all right. Love you guys. Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Oh my goodness. Mark Thompson himself.
Yes. Mr. Mark Thompson.
Yeah.
So
Mark Thompson is behind. If you get an audiobook that's Star Wars, chances are
Mark
good.
is going to be the voice.
Mark is your voice actor for that whole book.
Yeah. And he's fantastic.
He's really, 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 really good. He's a great voice actor. Our episode with him was an absolute blast. He was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it. Just to hear him talk about his story and getting into voice acting and all that kind of stuff was really interesting and really enjoyable. I loved having him on the podcast.
I did too. He was such a fun guy. And he was another one that I reached out to on a whim. Well, okay, not totally on a whim. So Star Wars, what was the anime thing they just released back in October?
Visions.
I think it was in October. So Star Wars Visions came out, and I'm friends with Mark on Facebook, and Mark had posted on Facebook, and I'm always looking for ins.
Right.
How do I get in with this person? I'm still working on Steven Stanton. I'm trying to get in with him. I'm trying so hard. I want Steven Stanton on the podcast. Anyway, so Mark had posted, he took a picture of his television with his name, and he's like, finally got my name in Star Wars credits on a Star Wars animation. And I didn't realize until that moment that he was part of Star Wars Visions. So he got to voice the character in
the drummer.
The drummer in, what was the name of that episode?
Tatooine Rhapsody.
There we go. Tatooine Rhapsody. He was the drummer. Great character too. So much fun. Because the drummer had 3 heads. So essentially he played 3 different parts. You know. So anyway, posted a picture of that and stuff. And when he did, I immediately commented, "Hey, that's awesome. Congratulations. Hey, you want to come on my podcast and talk about it?"
Right. Now here's what Brian says. Schmoozing. I think the technical word is schmoozing.
You're right, Brian. It's schmoozing. You're absolutely right. And I think I'm getting better at it. So yeah, I reached out to him and he said, sure, I'll do it. And I was like, awesome. And that's another one. Steven, guess who I got scheduled to be on the podcast.
It's so exciting.
With Mark Anthony, I forgot to tell with Mark Anthony, I reached out to him after he was on RFR and I just said, hey, because I seen that he was making a bunch of podcast appearances. It wasn't just RFR, it was a whole bunch of them. Of course, RFR is the biggest, but anyway. And I was like, hey, you seem to be doing the podcast rounds. How about being on mine? and
right.
He responded back, and I don't know. We've kind of become friends with Mark, so he's a good guy. Anyway, so yeah, the two different Marks, Mark Anthony.
There's so many Marks. There's so many Marks.
No kidding. But Mark Thompson was a blast, and then as you can see, he had an aneurysm, I believe. So
I'm
he
not
had
sure what happened.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what happened, but he had a health scare, and he was actually in the hospital through Christmas and through New Year's. But man, I'll tell you, he posted. Boy, his spirits were up very high while he was in the hospital. He was doing good. He was doing very good. And he posted some funny stuff while he was in the hospital. So check out Mark's Facebook page, and you can see some of that stuff. He recreated the Boba Fett trailer in the hospital with things around him, and it's just freaking hilarious. And he's got a video on YouTube of it. So, and he's got it like side by side with the actual trailer. It's freaking hilarious. Go check it out.
It is funny.
So yeah, check out Mark Thompson. He's just a blast. I love him.
Yep.
All right.
Our last one.
Okay.
Thanks everybody for hanging with us and going this far. So now,
yeah, I know this has been a long podcast,
a long episode. It's been our 1 year anniversary, recapping what we've done, where we've been, and that kind of a thing.
All right.
And our special guest to give him kudos.
All right, I gotta give a little warning on this one. So if you've listened to our show, you know I've called out what's his face?
He's having a penguin moment, everybody.
Yes,
just
I am. The penguin
give
is
his brain just a few moments to pick up. You called out somebody for what?
For crying all the time.
Oh, someone cries all the time.
Yeah. Oh gosh, help me, Steven.
I don't know, because I don't know where you're going.
Yeah, you do. You know exactly who I'm talking about. YouTuber. Anyway, I've called him.
Time?
What?
Who cries all the time?
Yes, he cries all the time. I mean, constantly.
Chris Mott? No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Chris
not
doesn't cry
Chris
all the
Mott.
time.
No, somebody way bigger than him. Comic book men. Gosh. Fat Man on Batman. See, I can think of all of his work. Anyway.
Oh, who was on Clerks and all that.
Yeah. Why can't I think of his name?
That's okay.
The penguin has swum away. He swam away. Kevin Smith. Thank you, Brian. Brian saving me again. He saved me
right
a lot
on,
on the last episode
Smith.
too. Kevin Smith. I'm always calling out Kevin
Smith. Well done,
Smith.
Brian.
Yes, thank you, Brian. I am always calling out Kevin Smith because he cries at everything. I mean, he if a stormtrooper farts, he'll cry, you know. But just a warning, I may get a little emotional on this last one.
Okay.
So here we go.
All right, let's do this.
Happy anniversary. 1 year. The guys at Two Geeks and a Microphone from us here at Rebel Force Radio. Hope you guys are having a great time podcasting. And always remember this little bit of advice. When it comes to podcasting, lock the doors and hope they don't have blasters. That's all I got to say. But you guys are doing a great job, Michael and Steven. 1 year of Two Geeks and a Microphone. Looking forward to many more anniversaries from you guys and a lot of fun on your show in the future. So thank you so much for having Jason and myself as guests when you guys kick the show off. And we're just so proud of you guys. You survived a year as podcasters.
Longer than most. So with that, all we have to say now is the force will be with you always.
Oh, I said, may the force be with you. Jason said the force will be with you always. So you guys, whichever one works for you, you can use it. Thanks.
Take care, guys. Happy anniversary.
Oh, your podcast heroes.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. That's so nice. Jason and Jimmy, they've been so nice. When we did the extra episodes outside the Star Wars world, we talked Batman and stuff. It was great to have those conversations with them. But even before and after the episodes and stuff, super nice guys, super nice. And I just enjoyed getting the chance to meet them. I know you have talked with them because you've been supporting their show for years.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge RFR supporter. I love that podcast.
Yeah,
like you said, they are a couple of my podcast heroes. Honestly,
yeah.
I've been listening to Jimmy and Jason since they began.
Mm-hmm.
I have two podcasts that I've been listening to consistently for 16 years, at least 16 years. One is Rebel Force Radio. Originally it was Force Cast, and then it became Rebel Force Radio when they split from the Force.net. The other one is actually the Daily Audio Bible with Brian Harden. I've been listening to him since the beginning. Still listen to him every single day, actually. Every once in a while I might miss a day and then double up on some of them, but I have to be totally honest there.
Right.
But I primarily listen to him every day. So yeah, when I reached out to Jimmy and Jason, Jimmy responded first. I've actually got to meet Jimmy twice. So if you're an RFR listener, you know that Jimmy says all the time, if you go to Chicago, hit him up and he'll arrange to meet with you at the Galloping Ghost Arcade, which is this awesome arcade. It's huge and it's filled with nothing but 70s and 80s video games and pinball machines, and you pay a flat price and you just play all the video games to your heart's content the entire day. I loved it. It was so much fun. So we arranged to meet with, me and my wife arranged to meet with Jimmy and had a great time. It was a blast. And then we actually went out there a second time, and my daughter came with us, and we actually went out to dinner with Jimmy. Jimmy suggested that we go to Giordano's Pizza, which is probably the best pizza on the planet. If you ever get a chance, have Giordano's Pizza. I'm telling you, the pizza is like this thick.
Ooh.
And it is amazing. It's expensive, but it's amazing. Excellent.
Right.
So anyway, so Jimmy and I, we've talked back and forth here and there on Facebook from time to time. And I threw it out. Hey, I'm starting a podcast. We'd love to have you on as a guest. And he had done an episode where they talked about collecting a bit. And he said that his first items that he remembered collecting was the Mego Batmans, which I thought was a great story. I loved it. I was like, hey, why don't you come on and talk about Batman collecting? We would love to have you on, because we don't just do Star Wars on our podcast. So you're not limited over on our podcast. So he was gracious enough and he said yes and did it. And we had him on, loved it. And it was so funny because when we have a guest on, I always get them to record a sounder for us. Hey, this is so and so. You're listening to Two Geeks and a Microphone. And then do something to make it your own, whatever. And so I recorded Jimmy's sounder, and I told Jason, I go, all right, I told Steven, I says, I'm going to send this to Jason because I'm trying to get Jason on the show too, and he's not responding. Right. And Steven's like, no, don't do that. That's not cool. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm sending it to him. And I sent Jason the sounder, and immediately Jason responds, all right, I'm doing the show. So that's what it took to get Jason on.
Right. Oh my goodness. That's
now
funny.
Jason I had never met before. I haven't had the honor of meeting him in person, but now we've done a show with him. And I absolutely love to get him back on. I hope to get him back on in the future. Jason was so much fun, and Jason is a huge Batman fan, so we share that in common. Jason is not only a Batman fan, but Michael Keaton is his favorite Batman. So he and I share that in common too.
I pray for them constantly.
Come to the dark side. We have cookies. So we had Jason on, and it was so much fun. And then we had the honor of having Paul Bateman on, because I had been trying to get Paul on, and then Paul teased us a little bit when he came on. He's like, well, if I would have known that you had those guys on, I would have been on sooner. I'm trying to do a Paul voice, but Jason Swank does a much better Paul Bateman than I do. So we had all three, because I consider Paul, I consider him one of the co-hosts of RFR also. So we had all of RFR on. So yeah, I managed to get my podcast heroes on.
You sure did. What a year. Well, I tell you what, we haven't even gotten into the whole thing with testing out Restream and Twitch, and then that's where we're at today and doing that.
Oh, and we didn't talk about my trip out to
Montana, where we did our first live.
Yeah, we did our first live
thing. We did it through Facebook, actually. Yeah, if I remember right.
That was before we had the Restream and Twitch.
Before we did Restream, we tested it out to see what we liked about it. Yeah. Right. So that's one thing I'd encourage, just try it out and see if you like it, or see how it does for you. So, man, we have gone 2 hours and 12 minutes.
Well, I was expecting this to be a long one. So.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So we had planned, that was off the cuff too, that plan for us to come out to Montana. I think it was just thrown out. I think your wife Kelly had made a off the cuff comment. Hey, why don't you guys come out and visit us?
Yeah, we got a place to stay for you. You just get out here. We'll take care of the rest. That's the phrase. Yep.
So yeah, Brenda and I's 25th wedding anniversary was in this past September. So the two of us started talking, and we're like, well, why don't we go out there for our wedding anniversary? And when I threw that out, she's like, yeah, I think that'd be fun. Let's do that. So we threw it out to you guys, and you guys were like, yeah, you can come stay with us, and we'll record a podcast, and actually in the same room together. That was the first time we recorded together.
First time we've done it. Yeah.
And
we haven't done it in the same room since.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get to again. Hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out. But yeah, and then I threw it out to Brenda. I was like, hey, Stephen is an ordained minister. If we wanted to renew our vows, he could do it. So we went out there.
It was great.
I bought us new wedding rings. I had them shipped to your house.
You did. I had to keep them safe and on the down low.
Yeah, it was totally a surprise for Brenda. And then Brenda made me mad because then she started looking at rings.
Right.
I was like, no, that's not funny. That's not, stop it. I let her buy some silicone rings for us to replace our silicone rings that we had been wearing.
Excuse me.
And little did she know that I had real rings at your house waiting for us.
That's right.
Then we hiked out into the mountains.
Yep. To a neat little waterfall location.
Yep. And had the ceremony. Had a great time. Yeah, that was a blast.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah,
Then we
that
did our
was
live episode, first
Wow.
live episode, and all that, and it went well. It was good.
Yeah, you can catch that too. That's posted up there, so
Yep.
it's all available.
Yeah.
Wow, 1 year. I can't believe it.
1 year.
Oh, Megan has to throw in that she bought the
bought those
silicone wings. my daughter bought those. Yeah, so Brenda kept bugging me about the rings, and when she did, she threw out, "Oh, I found these silicone rings. They're fancier looking than the ones we have." And I just told Megan, I said, "Buy those rings for your mother." But yeah, so we've had 1 year. Wow. I think we've come far in 1 year.
Yep, we have. Here, let me post this real quick. All right, this is Brian. He says, "Much love to you both. I know how much work goes into putting out a podcast. Boy, I bet you they do. Hope happy first anniversary for myself and my co-hostess, 3 Geeky Dads. Hope to hear from you guys for many more years to come. We're all subscribers and love your content." Sweet. Thank you,
And Brian, I'm
Brian.
sure you do work hard because I know scheduling can be a nightmare.
Just with 2 people.
Yeah, just with 2 people. I can't imagine 3 every week.
Right.
That's scheduling has to be a nightmare. So kudos to you, buddy.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, he also said, keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Excuse me. All right, man.
I think we're going to have to close this up.
We are. Man, oh man. Well, at least, we've got these recorded. They'll pop up on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that to go back through and stuff like that. So, all right, man. Well, Mike, it has been an honor and a privilege, and it's been a blast over the last year. Thank you so much.
Can't imagine doing this without you.
Thanks, man. Hey, I was going to tell you, I'm going to have to bow. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you.
Don't even do that, dude. That's not even funny. No, you've been a great host.
It's been fabulous.
I really can't imagine doing this without you.
Yeah, right back at you, man. Right back at you. So it's been a great journey, and I'm looking forward to more to come. Boy, if this first year is any indication what the rest of this is going to be like, oh my goodness, it's going to be fabulous. All right, well, Mike, thank you so much. Thanks for all the work that you've done. You've done most of the work for everything for all of what we do.
You do a lot of work too. Don't kid yourself.
Right. So, hang on a second. Yeah, I think my voice is about to give out.
Yeah, I figured this has been a long episode, and you haven't been feeling great, so I really appreciate you coming on and doing this.
You bet. All right, man.
All right, so I think Steven's having a coughing fit. So just thank you to all of our listeners and now our viewers. We really appreciate you guys tuning in to us and listening to these 2 geeks, these 2 old geeks for the last year. We couldn't have done this without you guys too. So I guess with that said, Steven, did you want to say a last word before we go? All right. So with that said, as I always close these out, over and out, and may the force be with you. Thank you for joining us today on the 2 Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,